Hello, welcome to a slightly different stream to what I usually do. Ugh. Today we are doing a bit of Daggerfall, the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, that is. Though we're not playing the game specifically. I'm actually going to be doing a rather specific thing in Daggerfall, and that is checking out a dungeon. The reason for this? Well, a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, which I enjoy watching, and I do recommend if you enjoy watching Daggerfall, called Grimith, is currently doing another playthrough of Daggerfall. He is a long-time fan of Daggerfall, having grown up playing the game, and is very knowledgeable in the game, oftentimes being called the reluctant sage of Daggerfall. In his recent playthrough, which is the Argonian Historical Reenactor, Part 4, he came across a dungeon, as you do in Daggerfall while doing quests. And in this dungeon, it was apparent that part of the dungeon was actually disconnected from the rest of the dungeon. You could not access the whole dungeon from the entrance. Sorry for any coughing. I'm still getting over a slight cold. I will try and minimize it. But yes, he was in a dungeon. And as you might be able to see from the title on my Twitch stream, it is called the Crypt of Stadanius. And this dungeon was actually apparently generated wrongly when all the dungeons were generated before the game was released. This is not overly surprising, but I believe it's the first. It's certainly the first one I've seen. I don't know whether it's the first one he's seen. I don't think so, but it interested me enough that I'm going to do a bit of a recording on it, and I'm going to actually have a look at this dungeon myself to satisfy my own curiosity. I'm going to be doing this in 3 different ways. First, I'm going to be using a program called Daggerfall Modeling, which is a beta version. I think it was released in 2013. And it is a program which allows you to see visual representations of the dungeons in Daggerfall, as well as the layout of towns, the insides of houses, basically all the 3D objects within the game you could see. So I'm going to be using that to have a look at the dungeon first, because it allows me to see the overview of a dungeon without having to be in-game. So far, I have no reason to majorly assume that Daggerfall modeling messes with the way a dungeon is represented within Daggerfall itself. However, for completion's sake, and also for authenticity's sake, I will also be looking at this dungeon in Daggerfall, both in Daggerfall Unity, which is a version of Daggerfall which was feature complete released, I believe within the last month or two. I do recommend it for playing through Daggerfall. It fixes quite a lot of bugs. It is much more mod friendly, and there are quite a few mods being made for it at the moment. It is also a lot more stable than base Daggerfall, which is quite a big bonus. Though it also fixes a number of bugs, which, yeah, if you're playing Daggerfall, you tend to like having the bugs around because they make things a bit more unpredictable, shall we say. I'm also going to be checking this dungeon in base Daggerfall. Now, because I am checking these dungeons to satisfy my own curiosity, this is not going to be a legitimate playthrough. I am going to be cheating to achieve these goals for speed's sake. Otherwise, I'll be wandering around in the dungeon fighting monsters, and I'd have to level up my character and all that, and I don't have patience for that. So, there is going to be invincibility. So first up, let's have a look at Daggerfall Daggerfall modeling, which is part of a thing called Daggerfall Workshop. I have it up here. This is the first screen which you see when you open it up. You can see it's beta 1. I will provide a link to download it if you wish to in the YouTube video, which I upload after I've done this stream, which is linked on my Twitch homepage, or if you just search Mech4 on YouTube. Anyway, here we can see it shows a bunch of the different sections of modules which Daggerfall uses to create its dungeons. I think this is a complete list. Yes, you have like cages and doors and walls and roofs and all that, arrows. We're actually going to go up here, and we're going to go to dungeons, but we don't need to. We could just put in the name of the dungeon, which is the Crypt of Stadanius, and it should pop up. It didn't pop up. I'll get rid of that star at the front. No! What is this? Stadanius. It was doing this earlier. I was able to find it earlier. Just a moment. I'll look for it by base, because I know where it is. This dungeon is in the province of Anticlere, which is where Grimith is spending all of his time for the purpose of this Let's Play. Of his Let's Play. And if we go down, it is here, the Crypt of Stadanius. Pardon me. Now, as you see, it is a rather typical Daggerfall dungeon. Randomly generated, there is a lot of noodles going on. It's a sight to behold. It's truly breathtaking. Now, one of the reasons why I like this Daggerfall modeling to see a dungeon is that you can actually see the entirety of the dungeon. And what I mean by this is you see all these bits out here. It appears, and this is present in every dungeon I've looked at in Daggerfall, including main questline dungeons, like Scourge Barrow, Doreni Tower, what else? The Tomb of Lysandus, and so on and so forth. They've all got these sections which are just hovering out in the void, and they're not connected to the main dungeon. To me, this is when they were randomly generating the dungeons, the game sort of spawned a whole bunch of these little bits, and then it fiddled around and stuck them together. But it didn't necessarily clear out all the stuff which wasn't connected. It just sort of completed a dungeon randomly from the modules which it had available to it to choose from, which fit together and was accessible in some manner. You know, doing a check through the dungeon to make sure everything was working to a degree. Obviously, it failed in this map in particular, for some reason. And I haven't really been able to find out why. I don't know if there is an answer to that. I suspect not. I believe all this stuff out here is actually in base Daggerfall and in Daggerfall Unity. I would assume if Daggerfall Unity is just taking the dungeon maps from Daggerfall, reading the information from the base game, and importing them into Unity, they should be there. I have not checked whether they are. I will probably do that in this stream, because that would satisfy my own curiosity on that part. However, yes, here we see the Crypt of Stadanius. Also, from all these little extra bits out here, we can see that the dungeon is not really as big as you'd expect. Some of these parts, like here, if I change the angle, yeah, that really helps things, doesn't it? If I change the angle, we're looking to the east. You can see down here there's a compass. So this way is east, that way is north. If we look along here, this is the central module sort of clumps. I don't know whether one of these squares is a module, or whether a module is like a certain set of these rooms. But these correspond to these squares here, these bright yellow squares in the center. These are like the main parts of the dungeon. Attached along the sides here are, I believe, sort of bridging corridors. These corridors will connect from one floor of the dungeon, one level of these central squares of the dungeon, to a lower one. So you can see here, this door here is on one of the higher levels of this particular square. And if we follow it down here, you can see it connects up to this corridor here, which is the same part of the module. It starts up there and it ends down here. It just connects this floor to this floor. And it doesn't actually connect to all this malarkey over here. This is all separate from the dungeon itself. The astute of you will notice that there is actually these markers here, random, in these extra parts out here. One of the checks which I assume the dungeon made when it was originally creating the dungeons is making sure that a quest location is not actually in one of these outside areas, or monster spawns, or loot piles. I think sometimes I can see loot piles in these outside areas, but these are random markers. I don't know what they do. Oh, hang on. I think that's actually random monster, so they might actually spawn monsters out in these sections. Pardon me. Having a look at the rest of the dungeon, we can see, if I go over to here, let's have a look. Where's the entrance to this dungeon? It is up here. This is the entrance which you appear at when you start this dungeon. When you come in from the surface. Now, every dungeon in the game has at least one entrance. Several dungeons, depending on what the entrance looks like, it could be in a palace. Palaces are technically dungeons. Also, one thing with this Daggerfall modeling, I cannot actually look at the palace dungeons. I don't think. I've looked several times for them in different sections. Under dungeons, I've put in, say, Sentinel to see whether it comes up. They're not there. I don't know why. If they're under a different name, I don't know what that name is. Anyway. A dungeon will have at least one entrance from the surface. It may have several entrances available from the surface, but they will all lead to the same door inside the dungeon. Some of the above ground entrances for a dungeon will be like a castle, and it will have multiple doors attached to the ramparts, and you can walk around the entire thing on above ground and look around at the ramparts and the entrance to a hall. But no matter which door you enter, it will all lead to the same same door inside the dungeon. So this is the section where Grimith was looking around at the beginning, and he went through all this. This area here, not this part, and this is where it gets a bit interesting, because this part here, you can see it connects over here. There's this half door. I have looked at this dungeon previously in both Unity and Daggerfall briefly, not completely. And this door here is a half door. It looks like half there, so this actually isn't there in Unity. I haven't checked whether it's there in Daggerfall yet. But this part here is accessible from this square, which is this one here. This square, the green one, it's green to say that's the one with the entrance to the dungeon in it, which is this here. This is actually the separate part. So if we see here, this loops around over back to this room. There's this ramp leading down, and it loops around. It's got this room leading off of it, and this branching section which goes down again. And then we have over here these stairs which lead to this room here with these 4 skulls arrayed in a circle. We have this room with the beds and the little shells here. And then we have other ramps, as like all Daggerfall dungeons are. We have this little room here, and it sort of loops back around. But if you keep going around here, you'll notice there is no entrance into this area here. This is, I'll call it like the temple pit room. There's no entrance into that part of the dungeon where the actual entrance to the dungeon is. There's this door down here, but this, in my playthrough, this was actually underwater from about here, and it goes down to this little torture room here, where a quest item can appear. But that's all that's all where it goes. It doesn't go any further than that, so that's a dead end. There's no other. There's this door here, but this just loops back up to a higher part of this section here. There's also this room here with the half door, but as we saw, it goes up to this room here, and there's no other doors on here. So the entrance is completely separated from the rest of the dungeon. Realizing this, Grimith used the teleport to quest location code in Unity Daggerfall to warp to the quest item location. And when he found it, which was, I forget where it was exactly in the dungeon, he made his way back to here, and after wandering around for a bit, realized that he couldn't get back to the entrance. He eventually smartly, he had placed a anchor, which is always recommended to do in Daggerfall to save yourself hassle. So, and he teleported out of the dungeon with no problem. But yes, so as I said, this is completely separate from the entrance. Now, I've had a look around at this, and there are a number of other things which interest me about this dungeon. They're not necessarily major things. It interests me, and to me that's enough reason to do the video, so I'll just cover that in this. There's this little rooms up here, which is probably known about, but I'll check them in the game as well. I will check them in, as I said earlier, in both Unity and base Daggerfall. Also, what interested me actually was, if we go over here, we can see that, wait, am I going the right way? No, I am not. Pardon. If we go over, where is it? You have to navigate the spaghetti. I figured there was... Here. If we have a look here, we can see that there's another entrance to the exit to the dungeon here. Marker, start. Pardon me a moment. Pardon me. There's a bit of coughing. If we see here, there is another exit or entrance to the dungeon. And also you might see, there is another one here. Now these are both entrances to the dungeon, which are in these two areas over here. So, okay, maybe you can exit the dungeon from, you know, maybe if you teleport from here over to here, you can actually exit the dungeon by going through one of these exits over here. We'll check that, as I said. So yeah, that's one of the things which I want to check. there's another thing as well, which I will check as well, but let's actually switch over to Daggerfall Unity, because I think I've done enough showing around of the map there, and we want to be thorough with this, so I want to check in the actual game to whether this is the case. I'll just switch over the window capture to Daggerfall Unity. And there we go. We go load game, and we have this save here, which is right outside the Crypt of Stadanius. Right. This gives me TM smooth, because mouse smoothing is an abhorrent to me. I also do TGM, because this character is absolutely not appropriate for combat. She is an absolutely terrible character. Escaped slave. Anyway, she's got abysmal luck. It was a joke character I made, but it was what was available. So yes, here I am, having travelled across the land to the Tomb of Stadanius, because I didn't have a quest for it. It wasn't too far to go, actually. I'll show where it is, if you wish to go to the dungeon itself. The dungeon is located here, the Crypt of Stadanius. What I did personally was travel to here, Oldingbourne Commons. This is in the province of Anticlere, which, if we go back out, is this one here. Daggerfall is here. You start up here in Privateer's Hold. So you travel to Anticlere, and you go to Oldingbourne Commons, and it's southeast of Oldingbourne Commons. So you just travel across the land, which is easier to do in Unity Daggerfall than it is in base Daggerfall, but I did find it. I think I did. No, actually, I cheated in base Daggerfall to get there, but it wasn't too hard to find. Having a horse helps. It makes it faster. It's not that long though. I think it took maybe about 5-ish minutes to get there on horse. So anyway, here I am outside of the dungeon. Get on foot and we'll go in. Now, as we know, we're starting in the area which is disconnected from the rest of the dungeon. I'm going to be running around ignoring the enemies as much as I can. Get out of my way, rat. Right. This is the room with, you know, the torch in it. There's a secret door here. Kind of secret. 2 secret doors. And if we run around here for a bit, we should never actually get into the temple pit room, because it is not connected. There's another rat, and we can hear a whole bunch of skeletons, which is pretty terrible, I think, because I think my character's actually got a phobia of undead. And a phobia of Daedra. So, oh boy, we've got lots of bony boys. If we keep running around, we have to go east. And this is that small room which we saw. Going around here, we should go up, then the corridor. The temple pit room is just over there. And but there should be no door to get over there. This just loops back around. Then we go down, and there's that small room there again. Do I have TGM on? Yes, I do. Okay. I don't want my character dying. They do that enough. I have some daggers. Oh, in my test, in my testing of this earlier, they both broke. Here's the room with the 4 skulls in it. And a rat just died because the skeleton beat it up. Poor rat. And we have up here, we're going east again towards the temple pit room. It's just a dead end, okay? And we go down here. Oh, it's east. Maybe this will lead there. Nope. This room's got some benches in it. Tables. But it just goes back around west. This one goes down. Maybe this leads to it. Ooh. And we go back here and... Nope. There's a cage. But we've been here. This is where the 3 skeletons were. So, as we can see, there is no way, there's a small room again, there's no way to get to the temple pit room. Now, Grimith might be tickled by this. I'm actually going to have to glitch myself into the void to be able to get to the temple room. Which is something which is a bit more difficult to do in Unity than base Daggerfall, I imagine. We're going to have to rub ourselves up against this wall here, so that I can see through the roof. Come on. I did it just then. There we go. Okay. Now, I want to go... We'll go up there, and I'll type in teleport. Teleport in Unity allows you to teleport to the location where your crosshair is. So since I'm looking through the wall, I'm actually... The crosshair is actually detecting me as having it over this roof here, because it doesn't detect the outside sections of the floor here. If I press enter, I've teleported, and I'm in that section which I was looking at. I'm in a section above where the temple pit room is now, and if I can find a downstairs... Oh, that's into the next area. Rat just died. Come on. I want to get down. Why did these dungeons have to be like this? Here we go. That in itself is a bit interesting. This is rather tight for a ramp area. But here we are. This is the temple pit area. And there's that door down there. As I said on the modeling, Daggerfall modeling, this, to me, led to water. And if we went down here, there's slaughterfish. Lovely, lovely. I love slaughterfish. Let's just ignore it. Pardon me. And, oop, there's a log. Or a beam. We go around, another slaughterfish. Rats keep dying. Ow, thank you. They're just nibbling on my tootsies. There's another one. And here's the torture room. There's no quest object here. I'm not here on a quest, so I cannot actually use the Unity teleport to quest item location cheat. Because apparently that only works if there is actually a quest location, a quest object present. Unlike in base Daggerfall, where you can press F9 or something to cycle through the different quest item locations, Daggerfall Unity instead teleports you directly to the quest item, which unfortunately means if there is no quest item, you cannot use that to teleport around the dungeon. That's why I had to teleport over here, by glitching into the void slightly to be able to see over here. Anyway. So we saw down there that that's just the torture chamber room full of water and slaughterfish. And there's nothing else there. So you can't get over to the entrance from there. There's no other doors along there or up there. I can just teleport over there to check that. And nope, there isn't. Ooh, there's a pile of loot. Oh boy, gold pieces, ichor, and holy candle. Lovely. And benches. And rats. And elf here. Ah, forget you. Anyway. So yes, there is absolutely no way to get from this section back to the entrance. But we saw those other exits to the dungeon. Could we just use those? Well, let's go and have a look at them. I think we can get to them by going up here? Perhaps? No. Right, let's go here. And we go straight down this corridor. If I go onto my map, actually, we can see here, this is a representation of the dungeon. It actually seems like there is a bit of a gap there to represent that the dungeon is not connected. Well, actually, hang on. No, wait, I lie. The red dot is us. The green dot is the entrance to the dungeon. So, there's a yellow dot there. Let me just have a look on Daggerfall. Modeling. at what's at that yellow dot on the map. There's just a small section of dungeon. I'll just swap over the view. Here we go. You can see this is broadly where it's pointing at in the game. It's just this little bit here. This isn't connected at all. I would like to see whether this is actually there or not. I'll do that after I've done everything else. But yeah, there's nothing in there. So, okay, fine. It seems like maybe the dungeon, when it was making it, got confused. And was like, there's more dungeon over to that area than there's supposed to be. So. Anyway, I hope that actually showed up. It should have. I'll just show it again, just in case. Sorry, I'm a bit new to all this OBS stuff. There we go. You can see this section here. Just in case it didn't show up. Anyway. Going back to Daggerfall Unity. We are now in this corridor here. And using the friendlier map in Daggerfall Unity, we can actually coast around and see this is the entrance to the dungeon over here, where this green bar is and this green square is. And we cannot actually get over there, as we've proven again. So, and we're continuing down this corridor over to the east. If we continue going this way, if we go up here, if we go down there, we'll reach, around that corner, we'll reach water. To save my time, I will not swim through that, because I did the first time I did this, and it just looped back around. So, we continue up here. Nothing to fear from me. Well, my character's good at one thing. Knocking open doors. Oh, don't hurt me, skeletons. Okay. Now, this brazier here should kind of look familiar. And this wall here should look familiar. Apparently, this is where the exit's supposed to be, I believe. Let me just check that. I'll switch over to Daggerfall modeling again. And we'll zoom over there. And if we find the corridor where the brazier is, there we go. Just so that we're sure that the place is the right place, this door should lead to a small room with a torch on the end of it with no other exits. And there should be a ramp up there with 3 torches, one of them in the middle, a skull. So, let's just check that we're in the right place. Switch back over to Daggerfall Unity. So we back up. We go through here. There's a torch on the wall in this room. There's no other exit. Skeletons there. Excuse me. And here are the 3 torches. So we are in the right location. And there's apparently an exit supposed to be here. But there isn't one. Now, my first thought was, maybe Daggerfall Unity is not placing multiple entrance exits to dungeons. Perhaps it is only making one of them appear. My idea was that if there is, say, I don't know. Thinking about that, there's not actually a reason for there to be multiple exits to a dungeon. Because, assumably, if you went into the dungeon, you could still get out of it the same way. I do not know if there's such a thing as a one-way portal in Daggerfall. In a base dungeon. I could possibly be corrected on that. I do not have an experience with Daggerfall. I did not grow up playing the game, so... But yes, there is no exit to the dungeon here. We also saw there was another exit or entrance to the dungeon. That one was around here. Over this log. And if I just refresh my memory where it was, if we go past the log, we go right from the log, down the corridor, and around a corner in front of a ramp stairs leading down. So up here. Around here. And then there should be some stairs leading down. The other entrance exit should be here. I think. Yes. It should be in this wall here. But again, there's nothing here. Is this base Daggerfall Unity? Or is this actually something wrong with the level in itself? I'm going to check in base Daggerfall to be sure on that. Oh, hello, skeleton. Get out of here. I'm busy. I'm talking to the fine people who might be interested enough to watch this. So yeah, there's no entrance exit here. I use this, nothing happens. It's not invisible. So yeah, that was that. There was another thing which was interesting to me in this dungeon. As I said, I don't have much experience with these things, so this might be a common thing or not. But if we go back to the previous the location where the other entrance exit should be, which is this way, or is it around here? It was where the 3 torches were. It's so easy to get. That's where the half door is. Excuse me a moment. I'm sorry. Okay. Well, that's where the half door is. We'll come back to that. If I could... And we're back at the temple pit room. I've actually gone over an entire square. I don't have the great sense of direction required in Daggerfall. It all really just looks the same to me. I don't have enough experience with this. Okay, this is where the exit was supposed to be. If we go this way, then here. No, not that way. Over here. Ah, here we go. Over the log. Back up here. Past 3 torches. And then around this corner to this. This is where the other exit entrance is supposed to be. Now, if we go back up here. And up here. I'll get my dagger ready. Around this corner is a huge horde of rats. Personally, I've never seen so many enemies in one location. Unless I've, like, you know, gotten a train of enemies chasing after me, like these friggin' skeletons. Excuse me, mister, you can deal with them. Or missus, I don't know. Leave me alone. Go kill those rats. There's another one, he's killing the rats. I've got these skeletons chasing me around this entire dungeon. But yes, that area actually has, like, I can see this in Daggerfall. I can see this in Daggerfall modeling. The area has multiple creature spawns in it, and as I said, personally, I've never seen so many creatures spawned in one location at once. If I switch over to Daggerfall Unity, Daggerfall modeling, you can see here at this corridor, there's like 4 creature spawners right here in this corridor. Now, this is probably a common thing that occurs in game. It just tickled me. I just turn around a corner and there's so many rats there. There's actually 5 rats there, so maybe sometimes the spawners actually spawn 2 enemies instead of 1. But yeah, that was that. Now, if we go back to the, nothing to fear from me. Is this the right way? Let me see. North. No, I want to go west. So I broke that door open for nothing. Back here. And around here. Nope, that's not that way. Wait, I'm getting turned around. That's where the exit's supposed to be. Let me check the map. Right. That is the temple room, and I want to get there. That is to the west. I thought it was to the west. So, yeah. Right. South. Or what? Yes. Sorry. I was doubting myself for a moment there. It's hard to think when you have skeletons constantly smacking you in the back with battle axes. We are around this corner. And here we are. We're in the temple pit room. If I can find the stairs down, I'll be able to prove that. Down here. There we go. There's a temple pit room. Now, there's actually two things with it I'd like to show off. One of them is this chain here. This is something which has happened in previous dungeons. I know it happens in one of the main quest dungeons. But if we use this chain, it actually gives us levitation. So you can actually get up to this platform up here. It's only brief. And as far as I know, you can only use it once. I've tried to use it again, and it doesn't work. I don't know whether you have to rest a day or something and it recharges, or you have to leave the dungeon and enter again. Reset the whole dungeon. I haven't checked that far. But yeah, that chain down there gives you levitation to get up here. Now, also curiously... pardon me. Curious is this altar here. Go away, rat. Get out of here. Yeah. See ya. This altar here. Now, if I switch over to Daggerfall modeling. Oh, frick. Did I not switch it over to Daggerfall Unity? This is getting so confusing. I apologize for that. Okay. If I hadn't, I'm now in the temple pit room. I'm sorry. Having previously come from where the two exits were supposed to be. And we're up here. If I didn't show it, this chain here was the one which gave me levitation. So you click on it and it gives you levitation, and it was enough to get up there and basically a little more. I'll have to teleport up there now. Or I could climb the wall, but... Anyway, now it's this altar here. If I go back over to Daggerfall modeling, as you were seeing, I believe, for the last few seconds, or minutes or so. Where's the temple room? Here we go. If we have a look here, it's actually got a teleport marker on top of it. Which is very odd. Now, I've tried multiple times to get this to do anything. And it doesn't. I click on it, nothing happens. I jump on it, nothing happens. Crouch on it, use it as many times. Nope. Don't do anything. Smack it with my sword. No, nothing. Okay, so it's not teleporting me, even though there's a teleport marker on it. Maybe the teleport marker only works if there's another teleport marker. I don't think there's another one in the dungeon, so it could just be a, you know, half of a teleport. I found that interesting because I thought, originally, seeing this teleport marker here first, that perhaps this would teleport over to that area which we can't get from. However, looking over that area in Daggerfall modeling, I couldn't find any objects which had teleport markers attached to them, or near them. So, from what I can tell, there is no hidden teleport to get from there over to here. I think if we look over at Daggerfall modeling, because we want to be thorough, and we go over there, we can have a look. The teleport marker is kind of like a dark blue marker with yellow as teleport. There's just random monster ones around here. Random monsters. Random monsters. The yellow ones are treasure. Sometimes treasure might appear there. There's also these ones here, random flat, which I don't know what that means. It might mean a random, like, flat sprite, or it might mean a monster. I don't really know what random flat means. I'm assuming it's a random sprite. There's nothing in this room. Nothing over there. There's nothing in there. So there's no teleports anywhere. So we can check that off. There's a marker monster there. You can see the quest item down there. But yeah. As far as I can tell, there's no hidden teleport here. It's not like you click on like the brazier and it teleports you over there. I'm pretty sure it'd have the marker if that was actually the way it did things. So yes. Switching back over to Daggerfall Unity. There's another thing which I'd like to have a look at in this area, and it's up here. This is probably known, but it was interesting to me, so I'd like to show it off. If we go around here, no, not that way. Where is it? Where is it? Right, down here? No, not here. Come on, where are you? Up this end. I'm looking for a marker, which I've remembered. Right, is it? No, it's not there. Is it this? No, it's not this. Random gold noises. The ambient noises in Daggerfall just enhance the confusion. Random door noises. Oh, we got this. So, let's have a look at this. Half door. Half door. I'll be checking that in Daggerfall base as well. I'm pretty sure that's how it is in the base game. But we go in here, and this should lead to the big room, which is actually rather close to where the entrance is. But there's just no door connecting it. So, if I was to get up into this corner, you can see over there, that is the part which we can't get to. There's that brazier. And there's the corridors over there, but this room doesn't connect up to it. So, can't get over there unless I teleport. So this is a dead end. With a half door. We had discount doors. Like, hey, this is what you feed horses it through. Anyway, what was I doing before? Yes. If I could just find the marker I remembered. Which is somewhere around here, you know. Not this. Here we go. There's this skull here, which doesn't do anything when you use it. And there's these 3 roots here, which again don't do anything, but they're just a marker. Over here, there's a secret door. We go up it, there's this spiral staircase, and it leads to these 4 rooms here. In here is a bedroom with some shelves and a candelabra. Over here is a little altar room with another altar. Doesn't do anything. There's a sword there, like loot pile. Here's a library with some loot on the table, and the torture room is over here. I think this room can hold a quest item. But yeah, it's just interesting to me because I don't think you see the spiral staircases too often. And the hidden door is actually quite well hidden. So, and it clips through the terrain terribly. There. So, yeah, there's a secret door there. Now, what was I going to do now? Pardon me. I think that's about it I wanted to have a look at in Unity. If I go back down to the temple pit area, just as a remark, this area down here is rather interesting, but it's already showed off in Grimith's video, so these four trapdoors here are activated by levers down there, and when you pull the levers, platforms rise up from them, which you can use to jump back out of. Supposedly. Personally, I always keep jumping over them, because Daggerfall, it's either a full jump or no jump at all. Or, no, it's a full jump or a vertical jump. You can't, like, move forward when you vertical jump slightly. You either do a full forward jump or a vertical jump. They always just jump over things, because you can't adjust your jumping path. Anyway. So yeah, I think that's about it for Daggerfall Unity. Now we're going to see whether this holds true for Daggerfall base game. So I just mute Daggerfall Unity, and I go and bring up base game Daggerfall, which is just the base DOSBox version of Daggerfall. You'll be able to hear it now. Here we go. There's the Softworks presents. Load save game. Here we go. Errata test. And we're out in the wilderness. And now I have cheats activated. So if I press F1, no, Control F1, that will make me invincible. Control F4, that I think reveals all the locations on my map. And Control F9, if I want to use it, gives me gives me 5,000 gold. But yes, as you can see, I'm already located in Anticlere, and I was just on my way to actually walk to the dungeon. I am located just outside of Eldingbourne Commons, and I was going to walk there, but then I decided, forget this, I'm going to actually cheat to get there. So, having all the locations appeared on my map because of the cheat, Control F4, which you have to modify Daggerfall DOSBox a bit to use. The way you do that, there is a guide on the UESP wiki, the unofficial Elder Scrolls thingy, wiki. To do this, you just look up Daggerfall cheats DOSBox and it will give you a link to it. You have to like change the controls for DOSBox slightly because DOSBox has Control F1 as key binding, so it conflicts with Daggerfall trying to use it for the cheat. You also have to change the Daggerfall config.ini file, ini file, to activate cheats or 1, which you want to do anyway so that you're able to teleport around the dungeons in case you can't find the quest item. But yeah. So yeah, we'll just travel to the Crypt of Stadanius. Trip across 5. It's actually snowing here for me. In Grimith's playthrough, it was actually grassy in Unity, and I think it was actually snowy in Unity for me as well. So the terrain might change based on the weather. It is Maundus the 29th of Morningstar for me, which I don't know the months in Daggerfall well enough to know what time of year that is. Anyway, we go into here. This is the Crypt of Stadanius. And I'll just turn down the sound a bit. As enjoyable as it is, just so I don't get drowned out. There we go. Okay. Now we should recognize this. Excuse me, skeletons. My character here is a bit... It's a bit better at fighting than... Apologize for the coughing. Is a bit better at fighting than my other character. Actually being a warrior. But still like level 1. So... Get out of my way. I have important business to do and I will not stand for you bony sods. Thank you. Okay. Now, there's a secret door over here. Yes, masterfully hidden. And another one. I think the skeletons are actually opening them for me, but we're in the section which we can't get to the other parts of the dungeon. I'm actually going to have to teleport to quest item locations. I hope it works. It should. Based on how Daggerfall base game does things differently from Daggerfall Unity. At least I'm assuming it does. Let's hope I'm correct. It would be nice if Daggerfall Unity allowed you to traverse through the different quest item locations rather than just teleport you to the quest items. Oh, hello, welcome. I'm glad I can be entertaining, even when I have a bit of a sore throat. Or my voice is a bit weaker than normal. Anyway, so yeah, we're in this section of the dungeon. As we've covered, we can't get to the main part of the dungeon, which is that way. Oh, I'm raising my reputation. If I go full screen, just for the better compass, because it's got the actual item, it's got the actual, like, north, south, east, west symbols on it. East, the rest of the dungeon is over that way. We can see if we go into the void here, briefly. Come on, climb the wall. You don't want to... There you go. Okay, well, the rest of the dungeon's over there, trust me. Now, if I go... let me have a look. I go... Daggerfall... where is it? Buggyfall. The base game Daggerfall is charmingly buggy. Daggerfall Unity does a fair bit to fix the bugs, but at the same time it kind of removes a bit of the charm because you don't have random screeching from the sound card from the sound font messing up. And it's not as easy to jump out of the void and all that, so you know you get better better working quests and better stability, but anyway. What was I looking at? Alt F11 takes me back to the previous item object I was standing on. Okay, it's left bracket, right bracket. So, if I press right bracket, it'll teleport to one of the quest locations. Ooh, look at that. So fancy. Now I just have to figure out where I am. You have the GOG version. That should just be base Daggerfall. That should be the same version as I'm playing here. It might have some other fixes on top of it. Maybe. I can't remember where I got this one. I think I got this from the Bethesda website. But yes, I just have to find my way back from here to a landmark, which I can, actually, I can just keep cycling through them until I find one. Here we go! We're in the temple pit room. Down there's the pillars. This is the altar. That's a skeleton. Get out of here. We can see one of those lovely Daggerfall bugs here. The water is clipping through the skeleton. I'll just do a save here. I'll just save over this. None of these saves are important. Now, this is the altar, which I was saying was a teleporter. If I use it, it doesn't do anything in Daggerfall base either. I click on it. Oh, okay. Jumping on it doesn't do anything, and when I click on it or something when I'm standing on it, doesn't do anything. Okay, just so that we can get full clarity on what I'm talking about here, so people will be watching the video completely know. If I go to... Oh, did I close it? No, I didn't. Okay. Wait, where is it? Come on. Is there too many windows open? Is that the problem? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay. Oh! Oh, there it is. Pardon me. Right. Now, we're looking at Daggerfall modeling here, which is a program I like to use to look at the dungeons in Daggerfall. Without having to open the level game up, and without having to traverse the dungeons. As far as I know, it's accurate. It just reads the files from Daggerfall. But I will be doing a check to see how accurate they are. We are currently in the temple room here. And if we see here, there is a marker teleport. I've shown this previously, but just as a recap. Looks a lot like the later games... Looks a lot like the later Games Workshop. Not sure what you mean. Do you mean one of the Games Workshop games or something? Anyway, so we see this teleporter marker on top of this altar. It doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, actually, there's apparently supposed to be an entrance down here as well. I didn't see that earlier. So we'll have to check that as well. Actually, I actually have all of the games open currently. So, we can switch over to Daggerfall Unity quickly. That's not Daggerfall Unity, that's the, what's it called? There we go, that's the file. Okay. Yep, fine. Right, if we switch over to Daggerfall Unity, and we have a look down there, there's no exit or entrance to the dungeon here. And we've seen previously there's 2 other entrance exits to this dungeon, aside from the main entrance exit, which we can't access from here. But this and the 2 others, so there's 4 entrance exits to this dungeon, and 3 of them are apparently not there, at least in Unity. Morrowind and Oblivion had workshops that shipped with the game and allowed players to build their own dungeons, among other things. Oh, yes, yes, okay, I understand what you're talking about there. Yes, the construction kit. Yes. Daggerfall modeling does look a bit like that. However, unfortunately, I don't think you can actually use it to create dungeons. Yep. It does look similar. Well, well spotted. It just allows you to view things, as far as I know. You can't actually create your own dungeons. Maybe you could modify it, but as far as I know, Daggerfall modeling I don't think has been updated since 2013, so... It's part of a thing called Daggerfall Workshop. But that's the only part of it, if there's multiple parts that I have. You know mods exist on Nexus, but I haven't delved too deep into that. There's quite a few mods being made for Daggerfall Unity. I think there's an archaeologist mod. There's a mod for, like, greater diversity of characters and the NPCs. I forget what else there is. I think there's a number of extra quest mods. There's a mod which adds monsters outside the dungeons randomly when you go to them. There's also mods which improve the visuals and make the textures look nicer and all that. Which do look impressive. Though it does, you know... It depends whether you like how base Daggerfall looks, or you want to make it look nicer with better lighting and all that. Anyway. So, we're looking at Daggerfall Unity. Yes, there's no entrance... There's no entrance exit to the dungeon here. If I switched to Daggerfall base, or original Daggerfall, in DOSBox, and if we go down there, is there a entrance exit to the dungeon there? No, there is not. So apparently there's supposed to be one there. Or maybe it's just a location where the entrance exit can appear, but because one was already placed in the dungeon, it can't make another one be placed? That may be the case. But I think some of the dungeons do actually have multiple entrances exits. Part of it for me is the nostalgia of the game engine. Reminds me of old Doom and Dungeon Warrior. If you've played older games like that, the visuals are not so unappealing. So yes. So there's no exit entrance there. That up there does nothing. Now, I want to go back up to that area. And, no, wait. No, I don't. I want to go down here and through this door. And we run up down this corridor, and we'll see whether those other entrance exits are actually here. Studios don't do the labyrinthine dungeon crawls anymore. I'm trying to think of any games which might do that. Legend of Grimrock has kind of dungeon crawling. That's the genre of game which I don't tend to play. That's a first-person dungeon crawler, though. Party dungeon crawler, you know. Grid-based. Yes, skeletons, you're very scary. Excuse me. You're being very rude. Out of my way. I'm gonna have to beat you with a sword because I don't have a mace or other blunt instrument. This is gonna take forever. Get out of my way. Vamos. Ah, okay, thank you. On the one hand, I'm kind of glad that the games don't tend to do dungeons like this. There should be an exit here. But there isn't. Okay, so that one's not there. If we go up here, past these 3 torches, which we saw in Unity. Up here, past this log. Around this corner. And we go back down around here. And that's where that ramp down is. This is where the other entrance exit should be. On Daggerfall modeling, it shows it. But there's no entrance exit. The talking to skeletons is my favorite part of this strip. They're so rude. They keep getting in my way. I wish I could put my all back in my all into it. But yes, my voice is a bit weak at the moment. Anyway, so there's no entrance exit here. So apparently there's just the one part of the dungeon which is completely separate, and there's no way to get over there. Or there's no way to escape from this section of the dungeon. What else did I want to check? I wanted to see whether it was possible to find those sections of the dungeon which are floating off in the ether. Actually, no, I missed out on something from there. I want to see whether that corridor has all those spawns in it again. That amused me the last time, so we'll just run back there. I've actually gotten to know this dungeon layout pretty well. I'm scared. That's why I turn collisions off and fly. Is it possible in Daggerfall? I don't know if there's a no clip in Daggerfall. I know there's, like, if I have levitate, but my character doesn't have levitate. This is just a level 1 character, essentially. Yeah, level 1, Dark Elf. So, title key? Shift title, control title. I don't think it's doing anything. I do have cheats activated. I'll have to have a look on the wiki for that. Thank you for your aid. Yes! Here's a corridor! Holy crap, there's a lot of skeletons in here and there's a brat. No! Go away! Oh, so many skeletons. At least this character doesn't have a phobia to them. My Unity character has phobia to skeletons and Daedra. Poor her. And she's having to fight them all with like an elven dagger. Good thing she's invincible, she can just run past them. This character, however, is a badass. She's not scared by them. Right. Well, what was I doing? I'll just teleport back to the temple location. What are 3 bars on the left? Down here. The 3 bars are my health, my fatigue, and my mana, or magicka. The green bar is my health. The red bar is my fatigue. It's been going down since I've been running around the place. The blue bar is my magicka, or magic mana points. If I turn off full screen, you can see them lined up there. Ugh. Pardon me. I'm sorry. I know coughing is unprofessional. Let's try something else, actually, while we're here. We saw in Unity that this chain gave me, what's that? Oh, that's just a door. It looks so weird. We saw in Unity that this chain gave me levitate. Does it do that in Daggerfall base? Yes, it does. And I have to jump to go up in Daggerfall base. Oh, it's wearing off already. It's extremely short. I'm human, humans cough. I know, but I'd turn my mic off if I could, but the mute button on this it doesn't really work too well, so I can't really turn it off fast enough. I'm truly lost in Hexen. I managed to find my way into Daggerfall. Yes. And hello, welcome. Sorry, I took the day off yesterday so that my cold could get a bit better. My voice is still a bit weak from the sore throat though, so I don't know if we'll actually get to Hexen later. I might actually have to call it after doing this. As far as my exit, when you want to get out of a dungeon fast and don't have the teleport spell, save the game, then reload your game, do not move, afterwards use the Alt F11 half cheat. You not have the data and it will teleport me to the teleport to the exit. Yeah, sure. I know where the exit is. The exit is over there. The reason why I'm doing this, as a recap for people who have just joined, there is a YouTuber Twitch streamer which I very much enjoy watching. He is called Grimith, and he does a lot of streams of Daggerfall. Having grown up playing the game, he has a great love for the game. Love-hate relationship with the game because it is a terrible game, but he gets a lot of enjoyment from it. He's done many playthroughs of the game over the years. I do recommend you to have a look at them. They're all up on YouTube if you want to. It is Grimith, Grimith. And in his recent playthrough, where he's playing as an Argonian historical reenactor, he came into this dungeon, which is located in the region of Anticlere. If I can bring up the area map. I cannot. Let us do so in Unity. It will be easier to get there from here. Or maybe I can bring it up in here. I cannot travel while I'm indoors. Lovely. Thank you. You're so kind. Right. I just climb and wedge myself up into this corner so I can see other parts of the map. And I will teleport myself over to there. There we go. Utilizing the void for fun and profit. Wedge myself up into this corner again. And if I teleport myself into there, we should now actually be close to the entrance. I believe. My assumptions are correct. Yes, here we go. Okay. This is a room, and then over here is the entrance. Right. If I exit, I'll show you. We're in this province here, Anticlere, and we are here specifically in this area, this dungeon called the Crypt of Stadanius. In Grimith's playthrough, he got a quest to go to this dungeon, and I think it was find a priestess or something and save her from a vampire, possibly. However, he couldn't find the quest item location. That being the princess, or whatever. He discovered that the reason for that was the section of dungeon which you'll put into at the beginning of this dungeon is not actually connected to the rest of the dungeon. From here, I cannot get to that temple pit room. This section of the dungeon is completely split off. If I switch over to Daggerfall modeling, which I've been using to illustrate this for simplicity purposes, as simple as the Daggerfall dungeons get, it's clearer anyway. We're currently here. This is the entrance to the dungeon which you appear at. This whole section over here, all these tunnels here, not this bit here, but all these, and these noodle tunnels under here, are all disconnected from these parts over here. You cannot access this part of the dungeon from this section here. Grimith realizing this, he not being able to find the quest item, teleported to the quest location, which you're able to do in Unity. by putting in, what do you put in? It comes up if you put in help in the title, into the title control panel. It is teller to queue spawn, and it teleports you to quest marker spawn, monster NPC placement. So he was able to find what he was looking for that way. It is not as effective as in base Daggerfall, because if you are in the dungeon without a quest, as I am, you cannot use that command because there is no quest object to teleport to. In base Daggerfall, you can cycle through the quest item locations by pressing left and right bracket, regardless of whether there is a quest object there, which is a bit more useful. So yeah, we solved that. I mean, we confirmed what he discovered himself, so it's the second person confirming it. Most of the dungeon in this is disconnected from the entrance, which is interesting, because as far as I know, that's the first dungeon I've ever seen which does that. I do not play a lot of Daggerfall, though I have watched quite a few streams of it, and it's the first one I can remember that being the case. Having a look over Daggerfall in Daggerfall modeling, I saw that there was at least 2 other entrances to the dungeon. There was this one here, shown up on the map in here. And there's this one over here. This shows up in Daggerfall modeling. And there was also this one down here, which I discovered just a little bit ago. I'm going through in Daggerfall base game now, because I've already confirmed it in Daggerfall Unity. That was Daggerfall Unity there. This is base Daggerfall. That those dungeon entrances do not appear. So, that one over here in Daggerfall base game, there's no entrance there. So I'm going to go over here and check whether the entrances are. I can't remember whether I've actually already been over there or not. I've been doing too much talking. It's been known to be largely unfinished. The game in general is on a scale so large one can hardly blame the devs for the bugs like this that exist. It is not surprising in the least that there are dungeons in this game which are broken like this. As far as I know, the dungeons were randomly generated before the game was released. Everyone who plays the game has the same dungeons. They're the same layout. They're not randomly generated when you start the game. Using a randomizer to create the dungeons. If we see in Daggerfall modeling, there is a lot of extra bits stuck off from the dungeon. I'll just go over to Daggerfall modeling. There's a lot of these extra noodle bits. Like here. This room here. This stuff over here. Which aren't actually connected to the dungeon in any way, shape, or form. My assumption is that the way Daggerfall makes the dungeons is that it lays out, like, modules. It laid out these modules, fiddled around to make them connect, and it left the stuff which didn't fit when it had finished making a dungeon which was traversable. It is, the dungeons are randomly generated. Is share a helpful YouTube link? Sure, I actually have YouTube links to, unconnected, unshown in my chat. I don't know how you could send it to me. Maybe if you try. I can see it regardless, but maybe other people can't see it. I'm not too sure how it works. Sorry, I'm quite new to streaming. I think I only started like a month and a half ago. I was better then. My voice was stronger. Damn this cold. It's not too bad. It's just my sore throat has left my voice a bit weak. Because I decided to stream and weaken my voice. Anyway. And I try not to do too much talking, but I'm yakking all the time now. I listen to my own advice. How the dungeons look. I was thinking they look like a randomly generated thing. Yes, getting back to that. The dungeons are randomly generated. They work by having a series of predetermined module layouts. Which, if you play Daggerfall enough, you come to recognize certain sections of the dungeon because the same layout keeps happening over and over again. Certain rooms are always connected to certain other rooms. Grimith has a much better understanding of this than I do because he has got so much more experience with the game than I do. We can actually see an example of this here. We see this chapel room here with the 4 torches in it. And we see this corridor here, with this room here, and this corridor leading around it with this ramp here. Just over here, we can see the same thing. We have this chapel here, this room here, and this corridor leading around with this ramp. It's exactly the same thing. And then after that, the room changes. In here, there's this, like, what's it called? Diagonal wall with this horizontal wall here. In this large square room. But here, it's actually this, like, what's it called? Double paperclip shaped room. Which you recognize from Privateer's Hold. But you can see this module here is the same in both. Daggerfall just sticks them together. The name of the video is A Promise Unfulfilled, and it's by Indigo Gaming. Okay, I might have a look at it later. Thank you. I'll have to look it up. I'm sorry about the link not working. I did it as a preemptive thing. Anyway. Nothing against you personally, it's just, I don't know. But yes, you can see that from that, Daggerfall has the dungeons stuck together in a certain way. You can see better with this. As your experience with the game goes up, and your memory is if your memory is good for these things. Like this room here is the same as the one which we saw over there. It's just got a different texture on the wall. Is it? No, actually it's a bit different. As I said, if you've got a good memory for this stuff, I don't really. But certain corridors and so on are reused over and over again. But the dungeons are randomly generated. Were randomly generated. Yeah, I did say to try. Thank you for giving me the link, giving me the name of the video. I'll have a look at it later. What was I saying? Yes, the dungeons were randomly generated. But they're the same for everyone who plays the game. So, all these noodly appendages, as I said here, these are all disconnected from the level. I'm waffling over the same points over and over again. I just want to be clear on this. We go back to base Daggerfall, and I continue having a look for that two other exits to the dungeon. Actually, I'm gonna have to have a rest, because my character is pooped. Oh, there's a creature here. Oh, it's a rat. Get out of here. Shoo! Thank you. Okay, let's have another rest. Is my character, like, more tired, or was it just because... I don't know. It's probably because I'm just running everywhere. Oh, hello, you just popped out of nowhere. Okay, around this corner. Up here. And here's the brazier, and there's no entrance there. There should be an exit entrance here, or they'd shown one in Daggerfall modeling. That there is one there, but there isn't. If we go up here, past these torches again, up here, over this log. I think I have been one, actually, so I'm just going over this again. But there's new people here, so it bears repeating. Get out of my way! Oh! Ah! Friggin' skeletons. Ah, thank you. Okay. We go around here. There's no entrance exit there. So. Now, I want to see whether those noodly bits are here. They should be just outside of the area. Where am I from? I can't recognize my accent. You can tell an accent through my sore throat. I'm Australian. Though my Australian accent is not that strong. But yes. Or, you know, I don't have one of the, you know, stereotypical Australian accents. But yes. We can see some of the other corridors up there. To an American it is. Probably in the pronunciation of things. I say lever instead of lever. Anyway. It is pronounced lever. And it's boy, not buoy. Ugh, what is this buoy? Buoy nonsense. I got bones to pick with. Pronunciation of words. It's no problem. Variety makes things more interesting. We can see briefly when I got my head stuck out of these corridors, if I can find like a good corner to pop out of, a door frame would be ideal. I think I can get into the void to have a better look. The void is the name given to the space between the walls. I think that's a Lovecraft short novel. If we wedge ourselves in here, we might be able to pop out into the void. And, have a look at the, It's a British-English thing. The Irish and British say lever like that too. Yeah. It's an Australian thing too. We say lever because of our, stronger, British influence, I'd say, up until about the 60s. Anyway, sorry. I'm struggling here with a fading voice. Come on! Get me up into that void. I want to see stuff out there. Oh, I've got multiple Americans here. What's the time there? Here it's like here it's nearly 1:20 AM. It must be like really early in the morning or... No. Later at night? It would be coming on to like 5 or something at night. 5 PM or something, wouldn't it? Oh. Time zones. I have no time for trying to... what's it called? 11:20 AM, near noon. Greater Wisconsin Dallas area. It's 10:20 AM. Well, okay. That's not actually... Yeah, fine. Interesting. Hey, it's from France. Hello. I've been to Paris once. Yeah, intercontinental stream. I'm so happy for the internet bringing everyone together like this. Been to Paris. Nice city. There was a lot of cigarettes all over the ground though. That was back in 2005. Anyway. You're at graveyard shift. Yeah, I have a terrible sleep schedule, so that's my excuse. We all should go to bed earlier. What are we doing sitting up? Well, what am I doing sitting up at night talking about Daggerfall and trying to find out stupid stuff in the game? This is interesting to me. I find it interesting. This level, this dungeon is different from what I've seen. So anyway, I'm trying to poke my head out here, and I'm not having success. I'm not a master of getting out into the void. Maybe if I had levitate it would be easier. But, come on. And just keep... get up into the... Is that... No, that's not my jump key. Jump is Z in the Daggerfall base. Come on. Jump! My jumping is horrible. Is there a way to, like, no clip? Let me just check. No clip. No clip. Flying through the void, no clip. The best area is a low wall with a propped up casket. Run up to the casket and get stuck. Can't climb up and cast levitate. Tall stairs. You jump into water while jumping towards the wall. Oh, yes. Yes, I know that one. And tall stairs. Right. Well, I kind of don't really want to wedge myself up against a wall or something. Let's save here. Rala. Test 3. And let's see if we can wedge ourselves up against a sarcophagus and pop ourselves out into the void. My partner works first shift and was gifted a day off, and so I'm staying up a bit late to hang out with him and watch random small Twitch streams. I'm glad you chose me for your entertainment. Am I? I don't know. I hope I'm being entertaining. I don't think you can get much more niche than this. Let's go through finding random crap in Daggerfall. Ah, I'm stuck in the sarcophagus. You've been laughing. Well, that's good. I'm happy. I'm entertaining. I can see stuff out there. So, I think there is actually the, noodly areas still out there. Let's have a look at Daggerfall modeling. And see if I can find the room which I was in. Here we go. So, I was in a room with several sarcophagi. And... was it this side? No, that's back towards the entrance. I'm far over here. Where is it? Not that one. Not that one. Oh, I'm in here. Okay, that's not actually far away. That's not actually far over enough. I've been trying to get into the void, but not... like... right. Okay, I unstuck myself. Follow dance. Oh, thank you. I don't have any fancy things popping up for that, but thank you. I'll be able to do a better case of it after my throat's recovered a bit. Usually I do streams of Hex and other FPS games, but I've been thinking about doing something else. Maybe I'll start an actual Daggerfall stream. Let's have a look at the wonderful map. Yes. Don't we love this? Without it, we'd be truly lost. Oh, okay. I need to go that way. Let me just have a look at modeling, because I need to reorientate myself. Right, I need to head east. East. Always into the east. Why did I follow him? I don't know. Why do things happen the way they do in dreams? All I know is that from that moment forward, I followed him east. Always into the east. Okay. Get out of my way! Dumb skeleton. Stop blocking. I'm a warrior, damn it. Yay! A little victory jump. Let's equip that. That would be better. I'll get that for whatever purpose. Because I want it. Okay. We've got a better sword now. These stairs I might be able to glitch my way out of. These look a bit more likely. Come on. There's a gap there. I can see a hole in the wall. Actually, come to think of it, I was looking at Daggerfall Unity and I was noticing those holes in the geometry. Apparently those holes actually exist in base Daggerfall. Oh, I'm stuck in the staircase. Yeah, there's a little hole there. I can see water. Oh yeah, because the lower half of this dungeon is actually full of water. How lovely. Oh, there's a banner there. Does that banner do anything? Nope. Oh! Sorry! The screen's frozen. Oh, I forgot to swap it over for Daggerfall modeling. Sorry, I'm constantly swapping between different programs. I forgot again. Sorry. I'm switching between Daggerfall modeling, Daggerfall Unity, and Daggerfall in DOSBox, and sometimes I forget to I forget to swap the capture over. Thank you for mentioning it. Please mention if it happens again. So, I was fighting a skeleton. There's a hole there. There's some blood or something on the ground over there. I was rubbing myself up against these stairs here, and I noticed there is actually holes in them. You can see, in that corner there, there's a hole in the geometry. I'm pretty sure I saw that in Unity, where it's maybe a bit bigger. And I thought, is that something happening in Daggerfall Unity, or is that in base Daggerfall? But it seems like it's in base Daggerfall. And those holes, according to a medieval, raw holes. You can get arrested in some states for rubbing against stairs like that. I asked the stairs first. It's all consensual. Sorry. Sorry. Inappropriate jokes. I'm like a cat and I'm rubbing up against things to claim it as mine. So these stairs have my smell all over. What was I doing? I was going east. That's right. I even did the whole monologue from, Diablo 2. So if we keep going east, and if I don't collapse from exhaustion... treasure there. Skeleton there. These skeletons are the bane of my life. Not as much as my other character, though. My Daggerfall Unity character has a phobia to undead. And a phobia to Daedra. The idea behind the character is an escaped slave who killed her, master. She's good with a dagger and good at killing humanoids, but she's, like, terrified of everything else. So. She's got terrible luck, too. I might rethink the character a bit, but it's actually kind of difficult, because you keep missing everything. In lore-wise, it makes sense, because Dark Elves enslave Argonians and Gidget. Pardon. Get out of here! Yeah, this sword's better. Aha, what did you have on you? Gold pieces. And an iron staff. Whoopee! Should make a character which uses just staves as weapons. Perhaps. Or just blunt weapons. A character who's not allowed to draw blood. If I climb up here, can I get further east? Oh, actually, let me have a look at modeling. Am I far enough east now? Where am I? Wait. Have I gone the wrong way again? No? Okay, okay, fine. Let me see. Can I see on the map where I'm located? Come on, where's that lovely Daggerfall map? There it is. Righto. Oh, not far enough east. Oh, I need to get over there. Oh, that's easy to do. Down here. Ah! Gotta have a rest. Then you popped out. I like how I gently rub my sword against their faces. Yeah. I'm a skilled swordswoman, damn it! I have terrorized entire continents with my skill. And brutality. And apparently in this world I'm not able to carve through a few skeletons. How the mighty have fallen. I just like petting them with my sword. There we go. Right. Don't worry about what I'm talking about. The character is sort of a remake of one I did in a Let's Play a number of years ago. So. If I do a Daggerfall stream, I'll go more into it then. But let's go through here. Get out of here. Can I rest now? No. The restless dead won't let me rest. Okay. Okay. This is actually a room with these caskets up against the walls. This might be our ticket into the void. Well, I'm waking the dead. Come on. Come on. Up, 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 up. Nearly, nearly, maybe. Are we going to get through that roof? Yeah, I'm really annoying that skeleton. Is it the coffin? No. Calm down. I've heard of the Restless Dead, but come on. Oh. Where'd you all come from? Get out of here. I'm low level, so all the monsters are just skeletons and rats. Oh! Is this that... Oh. Oh dear. I died. Oh, well, we see one of the bugs up there in the top right. Yes, I died there. What happened was I ended up running out of fatigue. And the skeletons offed me. I am actually invincible, but that apparently doesn't count for fatigue. Swinging my sword uses my fatigue up. Can I rest now? Thank you. I'm low level, so my fatigue is very low. Okay, now I'll save. I'm actually going to get a level up from all this. I go around this corner. I think the skeleton saw me when I was popping around. Yep. Okay, I'll just reload. That was what I suspected. I went over this earlier. Okay. Time for sleep. Okay. Thank you for joining me. Such as it is. But thank you for joining me. Hope to see you another time. If I switch to Daggerfall modeling, I am currently over here in this room, which is about as far east as I can go. I wanted to check. I've checked this corridor previously in both Unity and Daggerfall base because it was stood out to me. You see these 4 markers here? Random mon? These are monster spawners. This corridor for some reason has 4 of them in it. I don't know whether that's a common occurrence in the dungeons. I suspect it is. But yeah, in Unity I had like a corridor here filled with 4 to 5 rats. In Daggerfall base it's actually like, for me, for this character it was 2 rats, like 2 skeletons. So that stood out to me as being a bit odd. If I switch it back over to Daggerfall boss box. But I haven't irritated those skeletons. If I can wedge myself in a corner here or something. Come on. Come on. Well, like... Oh! No. Need to climb up the side of an object like... Okay. Get... Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, oh, oh! If I had levitate, it would be so much better. I wouldn't be losing the jump. I wouldn't be losing the, Can I press 1? Apparently 1's supposed to give you like 100... Holy crap, it does! Okay. We got out of the level. Oh! Okay, I'm gonna have to reload that. I read on the wiki that pressing 1 actually gives you like 5,000 speed. Okay, you can turn it off. That makes getting out of the level a lot better. There we go. And we're stuck. If I had known that, I wouldn't have been pressing 1 multiple times and forgotten where I was. So, okay. Let's go this way. And if I think we have to land on top of another platform. Right here. Oh. Oh, come on. Come on. There's a randomly generated FPS game called Chthon. These dungeons kind of remind me of that game, although levels are not in that game. Ooh. Interesting. Well, the dungeons in Daggerfall basically all look like this. I've seen them very amusingly described as mating octopi. Which is a very apt description. Right, I'm going to try that without the speed boost. Let's jump up here. Press 1, up, and... Okay, well, actually, we'll just leave it here for the moment. This room here. As far as I know, this room is not connected to the dungeon, so that confirms that Daggerfall modeling is showing the dungeon as it appears in base Daggerfall. That there's these sections of the dungeons which aren't connected to the main dungeon. Thank you, skeleton. If we go into Daggerfall modeling, I'll just show that off again. Okay, I won't be able to find the exact room I'm looking at there. Or maybe I will. Actually, I think we're looking at this room here. Let me check. Yes, okay. We're currently looking at this room here. I've fallen down into the void and I'm just floating around here somewhere, but we're looking at this room here. This room is not connected to the dungeon in any way. So, these do exist in the base Daggerfall. They should exist also in Daggerfall Unity. If Daggerfall Unity is just reading the dungeons straight from Daggerfall. I'm in Daggerfall Unity now, at the entrance. And if I rub myself up against a wall, you can see a tunnel over there, a room over there. If I type teleport and teleport over to there, and teleport into there, I said teleport into there. There we go. I'm now in a section of the dungeon which is completely disconnected from the main dungeon. Hello, skeleton. Monsters still spawn these. I should be anyway. Yes, I am. And there goes the dungeon. We can actually see the water level while we're falling there. My character's having a existential crisis. I think that's another one over there, so we'll teleport into there. Said teleport into there. Thank you. Right. If I open this door, yep, there's just void out there. And down here, there's just void out there. Yep. So this is completely disconnected from the main dungeon. So that is true for the base Daggerfall and Daggerfall Unity. We can just see out there more of the dungeon past this door. Yay. How long do I fall for? Probably further in Unity. Yeah. But anyway. I think that really covers everything which I wanted to do in this dungeon. There's a good thing too. My voice is straining a bit. And that went on for 2 hours. I thought it would only take about an hour, but I've been waffling for all this for longer than I thought I would be. I don't think I'll be doing any hexen. I'm sorry, but I think I need the I still need to rest a bit. But yes. As a recap, I'll just go into Daggerfall modeling because it's easier. The whole purpose of this video, which I could probably condense down to 5 minutes, was first to... It got some other things added to it. The main reason for this video was confirming whether the first part of this dungeon over here is disconnected to the rest of the dungeon, which is all this which you can see over here. Yes, it is. That's the second person confirming that because Grimith confirmed that first. The second thing to confirm for me was whether there is these other entrances to the dungeon. One appears here on Daggerfall modeling. Another one appears. Where is it? Okay, don't get too confused. Up here. Another one's here. Did I see another one up here? No, that's a quest marker. Okay. So there's two over here, and there was another one down here. I've now confirmed in Daggerfall Unity and Daggerfall Base that these do not appear. Possibly, and I suspect this is true, they are just locations where entrances can appear. I do believe I have seen a dungeon in Grimith's playthroughs where pardon me, where he starts a dungeon, or a dungeon is started at this location in this room. Not in this dungeon specifically, but in another dungeon started from here. So even though it shows up in Daggerfall modeling, it's just a potential location start. It's not actually, you know, there's supposed to be an entrance or exit there, and Unity's not actually displaying it. It's just a potential location. Since there's already an entrance exit, the other ones don't appear. I had thought that maybe because this is disconnected over here, there would be another entrance over here somewhere. Because, to me, the way the dungeon is made is broken, obviously. If there is a quest item in this other part of the dungeon which you can't get to, you would assume when they were making the dungeon that it would come up with an error and say, I don't know, quest item locations potentially unconnected, or something like that, right? I assume they would have had a check for something like that. Maybe I'm putting too much faith in them. For the most part, the Daggerfall dungeons, as far as I know, have been messy, but functional. I do not have enough experience with the Daggerfall dungeons to have a better opinion on that, other than just my assumption. So, perhaps it is a wrong assumption to make. There is one quest location in this area, I think. I'm pretty sure there is one. In one of the rooms around here. Let me have a quick check. Not down there. You can't get there. In there? Can you get to there from here? Yes. There's a quest marker location. So maybe the fact that this quest marker was actually accessible from this entrance, the random generator thought the rest of the dungeon was alright. But it's not. Where was I? The other thing which I wanted to confirm, just for my own interest, was whether all these extra bits out here are connected to the main, are actually present in the game or not, or whether it's Daggerfall modeling making a mistake. It is a third-party program. We shouldn't trust what it does implicitly. I have now gone into Daggerfall Unity and Daggerfall Base, and as far as I know, all these bits outside here are present in the base game and in Daggerfall Unity. I kinda suspected that, because as far as I know, this program, Daggerfall Modeling, is just reading the base game code, or files, to display the dungeons. I could go to any dungeon in the game. Here's the Citadel of Buckington in, what's it called? In Anticlere. And it's got the same thing. You can see all these little extra bits around here. I'll actually do a little bit extra here. Because I've recently had a bit of a questioning If you read about... sorry. If you read about Daggerfall dungeons, it is... You tend to see that all the dungeons in Daggerfall were randomly generated upon the game before the game was released. However, the main quest dungeons in Daggerfall were handmade. The UESP wiki says this, and I have heard other people, including myself, say this. However, I've come to start questioning that, because looking on the UESP wiki, there is no quote, there's no reference for that. I don't know where the original thought of that came from. It makes sense that the main quest dungeons would be personally made. You would think more effort would be done in the main quest dungeons than in the base game dungeons. If I put in Mantellan, that's not it. Oh, how do you spell it? Crux. Here we go. Hyroxy Coast. Mantellan Crux. Spoiler alert. It's a bit late now. This is the last dungeon in the game. We can see here it is extremely custom. It's got these different rooms here laid out in space. And you can sort of tell that this has been done by hand because of how unique it is. As far as I know, this is the only dungeon in the game which is unique to this degree. If we look at another dungeon in the game, say Scourge Barrow, which is a place you go to find the King of Worms. Aside from being quite a large dungeon, as we can see down here. Good, I'm actually focused on the right window. We can see, for the most part, it looks basically like all the other dungeons we've been looking at. It's got all these extra bits around the outside, so I assume, for the most part, it was randomly generated. If it was handmade, I would assume these noodly bits hovering out in the void would not be there. Why would a human making the map stick all these bits out there? My assumption, which I have no evidence to back up with, is that all the dungeons, including the main quest dungeons, were randomly generated. Then, specific dungeons, if they were named before they were randomly generated, were then touched up afterwards. I assume they did like a first pass on most of the dungeons to make sure that they worked broadly. Obviously, the Crypt of Stadanius, which we were looking at before, got overlooked. I wouldn't be surprised if there were other dungeons which are similar, or similarly overlooked. But this is Scourge Barrow, which is a dungeon which you go to during the main quest all the time. I don't think you can avoid going here. If we look up here, we can see, here's the entrance. You always start here. And this is a unique room. There are these sarcophagus around here. You go down this one, and you go through this corridor down here. This banner here gives you, what's it called? This banner gives you, what's it called? Levitate, so you can get back up if you don't have the spell. But we go down, around these corridors, and you end up, after a bit, in this room here, which is where the King of Worms is. There he is. Hello! In his spookiness, and his dancers, and his guards, and he has a bunch of, monsters hanging around. There's a quest marker over there, and there's a quest marker in his quest item in his sarcophagus there. But this is a unique room as well. One other thing that caught my eye in this level was this large chasm here, which travels through a significant portion of the map. It's over here, all the way along over here. I don't know if I've seen something like that in any other dungeon. It is quite a large chasm. Or valley, whatever you want to call it. So maybe that is unique to the dungeon as well. But aside from the start room, the end room, everything else to me, looks randomly generated. Even this room over here, which stands out a bit more, astute people will recognize it as one of the rooms which you go to in, which is in Privateer's Hold, the first dungeon in the game. It's a bit different. It doesn't have the throne up here, which you use a lever to get up to here with, but it's essentially the same thing. And you have all these cave systems and all that, but those appear in other dungeons. If I go to another dungeon, Doreni Tower, which I forget why you go there exactly during the main quest line, but this is another main quest dungeon. And again, you can see it's basically looks like it's been randomly put together. There's all these extra bits around the outside. As I said, I would suspect they wouldn't be there if it was, if it wasn't randomly generated. Indeed, we can actually see here, there's the entire, temple pit room, which we saw in the, Crypt of Stadanius. Including the teleporter up on top of the, altar. These extra rooms up here in these tunnels. This does look more unique. And the banners might be unique. I don't know how unique this is. I think it might appear in other dungeons, but it could actually be unique to this dungeon. I don't know. I'm sorry, I haven't played through the main quest of Daggerfall, so someone more knowledgeable than me would have to say so. Would have to, say whether it's the case. That's interesting, actually. That cage is up on the roof. Don't know if I've seen that before. But yeah, it just looks as randomly generated as any of the other ones. We'll check one more dungeon. We'll check, Castle Necromogon, which is another main questline dungeon. And it looks basically the same again, randomly generated. The point of all this here is I'm bringing into question the, often cited, even by myself, opinion, or statement, rather, that the main quest dungeons were handcrafted. To me personally, I took handcrafted as being they would be constructed from start to finish by a person. Perhaps that is not how everyone has taken it. From what I'm gathering here, the dungeons were first randomly generated, and then bits were added to them to make them a bit more unique from the rest of the dungeons. They didn't clear up, however, all the extra stuff around the dungeon. All this random doors and rooms which are just floating around in the wilderness. Oh, what's another one? Where do you go for, Nelfaga? You can see what I mean. I would agree that they were randomly generated, but then polished up a bit. I'm glad I'm making sense here. One downside of Daggerfall modeling, which I really would like to be able to do, is to be able to have a look at the castles and the palace dungeons. Every castle, the most important castles and castles in the game, Castle Daggerfall, Palace of Sentinel, Palace of Wayrest, they have dungeons attached to them, or essentially the castle itself is a dungeon. If I put Daggerfall in here, we get Daggerfall, and we only get the city of Daggerfall. We get Daggerfall Coven in Shalgora, but this is just a city. Which, while very nice, and also randomly generated by squares of rooms put together, as you can see down here. We have the Castle Daggerfall here. I would like to be able to see inside the castle. There's that's one section of the castle itself there. And we can see the actual, like, section of the castle there. But, I don't think I can actually see the castles, inside the castles. I don't know why. This is Daggerfall Cove, and this is where some witches are. I haven't been a completely thorough search. I haven't searched every possible location for them. Maybe it's something like the castles are actually located in another province in the game's memory, rather than the province which they're actually located in. So maybe Castle Daggerfall is located in, I don't know, in the sea or something. That's not the first time. Indeed, we saw that with the Mantalon Crux. The Mantalon Crux itself is located in the High Rock Seacoast area. Here, see? Mantalon Crux. You can actually get to Mantalon Crux through a dungeon entrance in the High Rock Seacoast. Even though it's supposed to be another plane, which you're sent to in the game. You can get there on foot, if you know where to look. I haven't been through all of these areas, so which is understandable when you see Rothgardian Mountains have 571 locations. To see whether the dungeons for the castles are actually located in another province. However, if they are, they're not under the names which you would expect them to have. Castle Daggerfall is not present as Castle Daggerfall, so my assumption there is maybe Daggerfall modeling is not getting the information for the castles. Or the palaces. I could put in Sentinel. Or Wayrest. Apart from maybe one place in Wayrest called Wayrest, which is Wayrest City. And this is Palace of Wayrest, which has a nice hedge maze outside of the back of it. We can't actually go in there to see it, which I would like to do because there's an entire dungeon in there. And I would like to see, because you need to go into these dungeons for the main quest, to see whether they are actually changed from the rest of the dungeons, or whether they're the same as the other dungeons you go into, like Necromogon, Darini Tower, and Scourge Barrow, and all that. So, but I can't. I don't think I can, which is a bit sad. Anyway, I think I've done about all of I can here. I've covered all the points I wanted to. That recap went on for longer than I was anticipating. But okay. I think that will be about all that I'll do tonight. I think my voice has been going for more and more as I've been doing this. Just have to relax. I'll have to have a drink after this. Some tea would be very nice. Anyway, so yes, we've had a look at some dungeons in this. We got the sounds of Daggerfall in the background because I've had them running in the background. The ambient noises of Daggerfall. At least it's not skeletons screaming. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for tonight, I think. I've made my point. Over 2 hours and 10 minutes. Yes. This whole video is in response to Grimith, Grimith, on YouTube. If you want to search him up, I do recommend it. He does a lot of Daggerfall playthroughs, and in his latest video, Historical Reenactor Part 4, he noted the dungeon was wrong, and I just wanted to check up on it. So, if it wasn't for him pointing it out, and me being intrigued by it, I wouldn't have actually thought it would be worth looking up myself. Thank you, Grimith, for all your work. Anyway, that's enough. I'm going to have some tea. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And I will stop the local recording here.